Good day, everyone. My name is Abiola once again. Thank you for joining. This is Mindklass Soft Skills Masterclass for students. You're welcome. You're welcome for joining. We're having a second class of the Trial Soft Skills Masterclass for students today. Once again, my name is Abiola. I'm a soft skill instructor. I've been privileged to speak in a number of schools. Masterclass has been developing students' soft skills as of 2019. Thank you very much for joining. Today, the objective of today's course is number one, we hope that at the end of today's course, students will be able to understand what is communication, the types of communication, the elements of communication, the kinds of communication, the importance of effective communication, how to improve communication skills. As we have said, the topic before us is Introduction to Communication Skills. Communication skills is very, very important. It is what a former President Barack Obama, the former president of the United States of America, it is one of the means through which he won the hearts of the Americans to himself. Before he delivered the July 27th in the year 2004, before he delivered the speech, it was not known to many of the Americans then as the future American president. But through his communication, the speech he delivered, as he was chosen by the Dem Party that he was in, through the beauty and heart of storytelling, through his well-organized, well-coordinated speech, through his presentation, he was able to win the hearts of the majority of the Americans. His name was well written in the hearts of the Americans. That was when the party that he was in began to see him as the future American president. Many experts, professors, and doctors of academics suggested that it was that actual speech that assisted former President Barack Obama to become the 44th Black president of the United States of America. What is communication? Communication is a process of exchanging ideas. It is very important that students should understand that when communication is being done, there is an exchange of ideas, the exchange of knowledge, the exchange of thoughts, of what you know or what is known. And that exchange of ideas go through a channel. That channel can be through face-to-face, phone call, the internet, social media, and the likes. And the communication that we are talking about is communication from one person to another. And in communication, there is or there must be a feedback. An example is when a student is celebrating his or her birthday and he or she posts a picture, a birthday photo shoot picture on Facebook. Such students will be expecting feedback, reactions. And what is expected to be the feedback? It could be likes, it could be love, it could be a share, it could be comments on the uploaded pictures on Facebook. That is a feedback. Imagine a student who is celebrating his or her birthday. He uploads a picture on the internet. And in the end, the student didn't get any like, no love, no share, no care, no reaction on the uploaded birthday picture. There's high tendency that that would not be, one of the best birthday celebration for such young person. Because feedback, is important. Feedback is needed to ensure that we are okay with the picture that is being uploaded, to ensure that our communication is well communicated to our audience. That's why feedback is very important. As a student, very important. What are the elements of communication? Message, number one. One of the most important elements of communication is message. A message can be in form of words, thoughts, feelings, and body language. It is important to understand that your words is determined by what you know. When you are communicating, it is out of the content of what you have read, what you have fed your mind, your heart with. That is a message, that is a resource through which your communication is given. Your thoughts, how you have reasoned, how you have thought, how you have meditated on the words, the books, and everything that you have read. Your feelings, your body language, how you react to your body. For example, if someone criticizes you on the internet, there are some students who, because they have not developed their emotional intelligence, they will react in the same manner through which they are acted upon on the internet. There was a group chat where someone was criticized. It was said that a person is foolish. When this person who is being criticized as being foolish reacted to the message, he reacted with wisdom. He didn't react as a foolish person. He said, "Thank you for pointing out my foolishness. I will now work on myself to become better." That was the reaction. If truly is a foolish person who would have, caused the person also as being foolish or point out the faults of the other person. But this person who is being called foolish on a WhatsApp group, he reacted with wisdom. And guess what? The person who is, criticizing him as foolish got a lot of reaction from the group member. They actually asked this person to come back and plead for the person who is being called foolish. And this person eventually called the person who was criticizing, and he pled with the person. That is, how our feelings, we can use emotional intelligence to communicate our feelings more effectively, and also body language. When we are communicating, it is important to understand our body language, to understand the body language of the other person. There's a woman who told me that she visited one of our colleagues, and she knew in a very few minutes that if she sits there in the next 5 minutes, there's high tendency that she would be raped. And because of our ability to understand the body language of the person who she had gone to visit, she had to run away. She said she ran away because she had seen a change in the facial expression of the person. She has seen a change in the body gestures and body movements. And that was why she escaped sexual harassment. So communication is not just from you to the other person. It can also be the other way around, from the other person to you. For example, if you're about to enter a public transport, if you study the bus that you're about to enter, you should be able to discern if the bus you're about to enter will be good for you or not. When you look at the facial expression, the kind of people in the bus, how they are seated, if you look at their body language and the likes, because of the lack of security in the country, you might want to understand the communication system in the bus to see if you are safe or not. Another point of communication, another element, is through that there must be a channel. The channel can be a face-to-face communication, phone call, a letter, internet, or social media. One of the most common channel of communication today is the internet, through Facebook, through WhatsApp, Instagram, and others. So this social media channel has been a blessing to many. It has also been a curse to many. The social media channel is one of the means through which a young man who is Emmanuel Nduka on LinkedIn, he was able, from his higher institution, he was able to get mentorship without ever seeing Tony Elumelu, the founder of UBA before. He was able to win the heart of Tony Elumelu through his LinkedIn social media profile. It got mentorship that many would spend years, would spend millions to earn, but he got it through the channel of social media. This is one of the strategies that students will be learning, how to optimize, how to use their social media accounts to their own advantage and not to their disadvantage. How can students use their social media to their disadvantage? Many researches has, showed that many students, many individuals who spend longer time on the internet are exposed and more likely to be depressed. And that's one of the negative effects of, this channel of communication. But how students can well optimize or use the social media to their own advantage, that's one of the things that we'll be learning in this Mindklass Masterclass program. So social media channel is common today. There must be a sender, which can be from you to the other person or from the other person, the object of action to the subject of action. There must be a receiver. Also, there must be a feedback. A feedback is one of the elements of communication that ensures that that which is being communicated is well or effectively communicated. Now, feedback is also known as results. And that's why it is said that except there is a feedback, communication is not complete. Remember the story of the example of when a better picture is being uploaded on Facebook and there is no comment, no like, no love, no share. There's a high tendency that, such person who is celebrating their birthday will not be happy. Why? Because he or she is not getting the feedback from the content that is put on the social media. So that's why feedback is very important. There are other three elements of communication that we may not cover here, which are very, very powerful, like context, like environment, noise. They are powerful means of influencing, the communication skills of individuals. How do we apply the key elements? How has great people applied key elements of communications? Mr. Babatunde Raj Fashola, the former governor of Lagos State, is one of the greatest communicators in Nigeria. When this man opens his mouth to speak, virtually everyone in this country wants to listen because he has knowledge, he has thoughts that are well organized. He's able to speak without not confusing himself. He said, there are times we spend money we shouldn't. The choices we make define the results we get. The knowledge that Mr. Babatunde Raj Fashola is communicating here is that the result of our life is determined by the choices that we make. And the result this man is getting, the feedback he's getting is that he is a successful politician. He was a successful lawyer when he was in the law firm, when he was serving as a lawyer. But now being a politician, he's doing exceptionally well partly because of his communication skills, because he's a great communicator. Also, he said, if you want to know how difficult it is to govern Nigeria, create a WhatsApp group and tell members not to post irrelevant things. It's talking about the challenge of being a leader, the burden of a leader, the responsibility of a leader, how the followers can wear leaders' hats. He's talking about how responsible as a student, if you are the class governor or the school governor, as the case may be, how much responsibility is placed upon you and how great a challenge you are likely going to face in your leadership position. Another person I'll be looking at is Chimamanda Adichie, a Nigerian writer. She's well renowned in the world globally as a very, very successful, a special and unique writer. She's well informed. If I want to ask, why are we looking at these individuals? What we are trying to communicate or pass across is that your communication skills is developed and influenced by how well informed you are. These ones are well informed. They are intellectuals. They are educated. They have been able to sell themselves because they are well informed through their communication skills. So when they open their mouth to speak, they are telling the world that they have a bunch of information in them, that they have knowledge, they have wisdom, they are intellectuals. They are telling the world, come and buy me, come and use me, come and give me opportunities. And that is why, as students, when you develop your communication skills, you should be a sought after person. You should be someone who is being asked to speak in your school. You should be someone who is being asked to or invited to speak in your religious organization. You should be someone who would be invited to speak in a small or big social gathering, a birthday party, a conference, all the likes, because they know that when you open your mouth to speak, you have wisdom in you, you have knowledge in you that people can actually learn from. Chimamanda Adichie said, culture does not make people, people make culture. What she's trying to emphasize here is that it is important that you make your culture if the culture of where you come from does not favor you, or if the culture of where you come from is not leading you to grow, if it is not helping you to become a better person. For example, if you come from a poor family, unlearned parents, you as a student would need to create a learned culture. You need to create a culture of worth around yourself for you to have a great future. Like the popular saying that if you put your back on the ground, there's a tendency that your back will only be on the ground. So it is also, as the popular saying, it is not our background that determines the grounds we can break in life, but it is how much time we'll place our back off the ground. So what Chimamanda is trying to say is that no matter how bad, no matter how worse, no matter how unfavorable the culture of where you come from is, you have the power in you, you have the strength in you, you have the intellect, you have the strength, you have the motivation to make a better culture. Don't forget, we are in a global village today. If you don't understand, ask questions. If you are uncomfortable asking questions, say you are uncomfortable about asking questions, and then ask anyway. What Chimamanda is trying to emphasize here is that asking questions is very important. There are many students that are going through what they are going through because they don't ask questions. The theory of gravitation was inspired by the question that was asked by Isaac Newton. He asked the question, does the moon also fall? And that was what brought about the development of the theory of gravitation. So if you have not been asking questions, I want to enjoin you today, please start asking questions. When I was in school, I was obsessed with question asking. Why? Because even by mere asking question, even when I know the answer, it helps me to remember better. That is a science of retention. We'll talk about that later. Application of key elements of communication. We will also be looking at Vusi Tembekwayo. He's an author, South African business analyst. This man also has great thoughts, great knowledge. He said discipline and consistency is a distance between the life you have and the one you want. So he's saying here that the difference between where we are and where we desire to be or where we dream to be is discipline, the bridge that separates us from where we are and where we desire to be is discipline. And that's why as students, you want to discipline yourself. You want to discipline yourself. Also, consistency. Must learn to be consistent at what we are doing. To be successful, we must learn to be consistent. And like what someone said, that discipline is the soul of an army. It makes more number formidable. It procures success to the weak and hasten to all. That is a quote by Washington. So education becomes important when you know what you want to do with it. That's by Vusi Tembekwayo again. Many students drop out of school today because they do not know what to do with the education that they have. If you see students who is troubled, students who is not doing well, students who is tired, students who is struggling, in some cases, it is because they don't know why they should be in school. They don't know why they are in school. It is because they don't love it. They have not found a why. They have not found a purpose around their being in school. If you discover one of the secrets of success in the life of Ben Carson was because he was able to fall in love with what he was doing then. And that was what ignites the affection for reading in him. Vusi Tembekwayo is a successful communication specialist in South Africa and world renowned. And because of this, he's getting a feedback of success, feedback of, invitation to speak in conferences. And because of that, he's a successful man. The last person we'll be looking at is John F. Kennedy. This man has great mind, great thoughts while being the president of the United States of America. Had the privilege to deliver speeches that made him, attract the legitimacy of the Americans onto himself. He was able to get the support of the Americans. He was able to, speak in a way that the Americans love him. They give their legitimacy to him. And that's why communication skills is very important. The message is powerful. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So this is a mind shift for the Americans when they deliver this speech. And many were of the opinion that what can we do to make America great? And not just what they can get from America. And the feedback is wonderful. It got the support of the people. He also said, do not pray for easy lives, pray to be stronger men. Speaking with a mind that it is not easy life that make men great. But men are great because they had tough life. So as a student, you will need to build your communication skills. When you open your mouth, you need to, communicate wisdom. You will need to ensure that when you open your mouth, people find it very hard to leave your presence. People want to stay longer with you. To ensure that when you are speaking, people want to say, let me invite that young man for my birthday to speak, to deliver speech. Let me invite that young man for my upcoming conference to speak. Let me invite that young girl to speak in a webinar, a conference that I am organizing. And that is the importance of communication skills. I want to play this video for us to analyze and assess the impact or the message and the feedback that we can derive from this video. Let's watch.
Yes. What a debilitating reverberation. What a disconsolatory situation and animalistic melancholia. I foresee Nigeria in a financial atavism, reversion, throwback, and a political atarazism.
The video we have just watched, if you try to analyze it using the feedback and message, you discover that you will hardly get a message and the feedback will be negative. And that's why as a student, you need to ensure that your message is clear and also your feedback is positive in that people can understand you. When we go deeper in the paid version of this course, we'll be looking at the 7 C's of communication that can help you to develop, your communication skills better. When you watch videos like this, you would possibly take the person who is speaking as a joke because you would hardly be able to decode any message and the feedback will be negative. What are the kinds of communication skills that we'll be considering later in the paid version of this course? We'll be looking at verbal communication. We'll be having people will come and develop our storytelling skills, public speaking skills. We'll be looking at written communication, how to write, poem, novels, and others. We'll be developing our skills in non-verbal communication, gestures, body languages. We'll be developing our visual communication. We'll be developing our listening communication skills and others. Why learn effective communication? You might want to ask, why do I really need to learn how to communicate effectively? We have mentioned a lot of things, but it is important to also mention that learning communication skills can help you increase your self-esteem and confidence. Many students are doing poorly academically and in other areas of their life because of their low self-esteem. They don't believe more in themselves. The reason is because they are not, exposed to the various aspects of life. One of such is this soft skill program. Many are only learning hard skills. They are learning the mathematics, they are learning the physics, they are learning the hard skills, but they are very, very, lean when it comes to soft skills. Like the story of the young boy, Sylvester Romani, you discover that one of the things that could have helped Sylvester is confidence, according to the content that we have on the social media. If only he had the confidence to tell what he had been going through to his mom, to his dad, even when the parents do not have enough emotional intelligence to decipher or understand that he's not in a good emotional state. But he needed confidence to open up. But because of possibly the intimidation that he had gotten from the bullies, never to open up. And because he was being overwhelmed by fear, he was being, locked up in fear, he couldn't open up earlier. And because of that, we lost that young man. Now, another point here is that when you learn communication skills, it can help you attract quality friends. Don't forget that for you to attract quality friends, you have to be quality, or you have to be working on being a quality person. Also, it can help you develop your public speaking skills. When you are invited for debates, when you develop your communication skills, naturally, your teacher, individuals would be interested in having you represent your school, represent an organization for debate contest, because you have been seen while communicating as a potential person to represent them for such program. So it can make you, a popular person as a debater. You can be invited for a TEDx speech, because the gift of communication has been seen, identified in you, can be seen, developed in you. Also, it takes away the fear of facing the crowd or fear of speaking up. Now, one of the reasons why many die is because of the inability to face their fears. And fear is one of the reasons why many don't really become their best self. It hinders them from speaking. It hinders them from, trying new things. It hinders them from developing themselves. Why? Because they are afraid, of trying new things. Even the adults are victim of this fear of trying new things. So learning communication skills can also become the job of a student, of a person. When you are seen as someone who is well-informed, who can put his thoughts in a logical manner, such person can be invited to speak and you get paid. Some person can be invited to, deliver speech, go for debate. You can be a public relation officer of an organization because you have been identified as a communication specialist. It can also influence you when you are going for job employment to get employed when your communication skills is developed. Also, it can help you become a leader by influencing people under you. If you're a class governor, school president, or you are leading in one capacity or the other. When you are learning the art of effective communication, it can help you win people on your side. Don't forget that there is no leader who does not have the heart of people in his heart, and the heart of himself and the heart of the people. So when the people respect you, when people want to listen to you speak, it shows that you are a leader. And that is much more possible when effective communication is learned. Also, it can increase your worth. It can increase the quality of your esteem, your worth in life. How to develop effective communication? Number one, by listening and watching inspirational content. When you go for conferences, when you listen to inspirational content, when you learn people who are speaking like former President Barack Obama, like Professor Patrick Lumumba of Ghana. These ones has the ability to communicate beautifully well. When you listen to them often, you discover that their communication skills get to become part and parcel of you. And that is the beauty of listening, of learning, of watching inspirational content. That's why the saying is true that who you give your ear time in code to becomes part and parcel of you. You speak like who you listen to speaking. Number two, by giving speeches to a group of people. So when you deliver speeches to a group of people in your class, in your religious organization, in a debate, it helps you to develop your communication skills. Number three, by reading insightful stories and biographies. When you read stories and biographies, or when you have the opportunity to deliver speeches, it influences the impact you get or the feedback you get when you have stories that can inspire people. Stories is a powerful means of effective communication. And that's why it is said that don't ever deliver a point, don't ever give a point without telling a story, and don't ever tell a story without giving a point. Number 4, by communicating often with empathy. Empathy is when you are speaking and you are putting yourself in the shoe of the other person. You are considering other person. You are not just being selfish. You are not just being sympathetic, but you are putting yourself in the shoes of the other person. Number 5, by taking special classes like this Mindklass Soft Skills Masterclass that is designed to help students, increase their not just soft skills generally, but also their communication skills. Number 5, by reading good books. So as students, when you develop the art of reading, it improves your communication skills. President Barack Obama is a reader. Vusi Fembepayo is an omnivorous reader. If you also read the likes of Babatunde Raj Fashola, he's a reader. If you listen to the likes of Martin Luther King Jr. of blessed memory, he's a reader. So all of these great communicators are readers. Professor Wole Soyinka is a reader. He's a great communicator. So as a student, you must invest in learning. You must build your information bank to be an effective, to be a successful communicator. This is very important. So if you have not been reading, I want to challenge you, get a book now. Ensure you read. Start with a book in a month. From there, start with 2 books in a month. From there, see the possibility of reading 3 books in a month. You can do it. Number 7 is practice until you are perfect. Without practicing, there is no perfecting of any skills. So when you invest in practicing, you speak to your family members, speak to the number of students in your class, speak. From there, you'll be invited to speak in conferences. You'll be invited to speak in webinars. So from there, you become, a good and a great effective communicator. And last one, you get feedback. Don't forget, where there is no feedback, communication is not effective, it's not complete. As we be concluding in today's communication skills, soft skills, there is a story of a teacher who told the students who asked the students in a class, what do you want to become in the future? And a number of students replied. Desmond said pilot, Cynthia said doctor, Sam said happy. And teacher said, Sam, you don't understand the question. Sam said, Ma, I think you misunderstood life. Sam has the ability to put his thoughts in an organized, logical manner. And that is why, as a student, your thoughts must be logical. It must be organized. It must be an opportunity to wow those that you are speaking to. Whenever you are speaking, it should not be an opportunity to, lose attention. It should be an opportunity to speak in a way that everybody wants you to keep speaking, because you have bundles of wisdom in you. If you look at the reply of Sam replied with intelligence. He replied with self-awareness. He has a full awareness of who he wants to be. You understand that life is beyond being a doctor. Life is beyond being a pilot. You understand that life is beyond being an engineer. You understand that the end product of life is happiness. There are many doctors, many pilots that are unhappy today. You understand that one of the greatest goals of life is to be happy. And that's why many find it very hard to be happy. So Sam made his thoughts known using intelligence, self-awareness, communication, creativity, innovation. Is not just someone who is one-sided in developing his skills. He developed his communication skills, and he also has other aspects of soft skills developed, which are emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and others. And that is why communication skills is not alone. When we talk of soft skills, there are other kind of soft skills that can develop a student to become a better communicator. And these are what we'll be looking at as we go further in this soft skills masterclass. Thank you very much. It's time for question and answer. If you have any question or answer, or if you have any question or what is bothering you, you can send it to us on the WhatsApp platform. Also, as a student, if you are interested in the gift that we have to offer, kindly participate in this assignment by recording not more than 2-minute video explaining why you have to develop your soft skills. Thank you very much. We have come to the end of today's class.